It's Melissa and Olivia on the Ladaire Pair.
Hey!
And we have Chris Amodeo back in the studio with us. Welcome back, Chris.
Thank you.
And we're going to get back into the music a little bit. He's got his guitar and he's willing to do a little bit of playing for us. And I wanted to talk about some of the songs that he has written that were inspired by love, since that's really the focus of today. It's our love for women and helping women survive these horrible cancers. So, Chris, you wrote a wonderful song that was inspired while you were at work. First of all, tell us what you do for work.
Well, for the last 22 years I've been in private practice as a Rolfer, which is something that a lot of people haven't heard of. Although it was just on Oprah not long ago.
Oh, it
so
was?
That definitely upped the Q factor for Rolfing.
And there are very few Rolfers in the area compared to, for instance, massage therapists or chiropractors. There's a fraction.
It's much different.
So what exactly is Rolfing?
Well, the short definition, it's a type of manual therapy that systematically explores your structural patterns, how your body is organized, and we look at how you move and how you breathe and how you walk, all those things. So the most noticeable thing about Rolfing is your posture changes. So that would be the structural component of Rolfing. But there's also it's very transformational work because you're doing such a detailed exploration of yourself, how you hold things, tension in the body, stress patterns, all of that. A lot of people experience personal transformation, just a lot of awareness.
Right. Now, you're a Rolfer as your main career, and you've been doing that for a very long time, but you have come up with a couple of side careers, music being one of them recently, and you have another career as a voiceover artist, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And how did that get started?
Well, when I was in college, I actually did radio a little bit. So it was, I was a student, it was really fun. And I realized quickly that there was no money in radio. And I decided after college to work and then go back to graduate school to become a psychologist. And it was while I was doing that I discovered Rolfing. So instead of dialogue-driven therapy, Rolfing was body-centered. And I experienced a lot of just personal growth myself. So I moved to Boulder, Colorado for a couple of years and became a Rolfer. So the truth is I've spent the last 2 decades in this kind of Zen monastery. My office is very tranquil, and we have a lot of artsy friends, and at one of these little soirees, it was, you know, the typical, what do you do, what do you do? And I, of course, said to the guy, well, you don't know what I do. You've probably never heard of it. And he said, so I told him, and he said, what's that? I said, see? So he told me that he did voiceover work, and it was a term that I hadn't heard for a long time, and I went, oh, because it reminded me. I had taken a voiceover class, and I thought it was really fun, but I went up to Hollywood at some thing where there were agents, and I just thought, nope, can't do it. I don't have the skin, the thick skin for this. I can't handle people telling me that I can't do it, or this and that. It was just the typical Hollywood scene, and so that was that. And so when I heard him talking about voiceover, and this particularly, he was talking about this voiceover guru. Well, as soon as he said guru, I was interested in it because that's kind of who I am. I'm interested in all things mystical. And so I ended up going up. I said to my wife, you know, I'd like to just kind of do something more creative that uses a different part of me. And voiceover's fun. I get to be kind of crazy, and so I schlepped up to Brentwood for about a year, once a week, just for an hour session. And so I did that, and I ended up doing a demo and sending it out, and I got really lucky because I got an agent very quickly. So.
Well, since you have a really deep voice, could you show us a little bit of your voiceover voice?
Yeah, well, there's a misconception. You know, voiceover, most of the time they don't really want people sounding like an announcer, you know, like the typical thing. So, but I'll give you, the first job that I landed was when Sony was launching Blu-ray disc. And I didn't even know what Blu-ray was. Nobody knew what Blu-ray was. And so there was a huge cattle call, and that spot ended up, people saw it in the movie theaters and so forth, and it kind of went like this. It only takes one look, one listen, to realize how far you can go. Anyway, so that was kind of the Blu-ray disc. So, but I do a lot of other things. You know, most of the things, or many of the things on TV that help women lose weight, or, you know, the infomercials, that's me.
Okay, well, tell us a little bit about the inspiration for your song, Love Is Never Not Beautiful, because I think that's a beautiful song. And you were talking earlier about how the songs just kind of come to you.
Well, I had been working. I was working in my office, and it was during a session, and I basically just heard this gospel choir singing in my head
while
I was working. And all of a sudden I hear this, you got one thing in the world to do, you got one thing in the... And it kept going, and I thought, okay, am I going crazy? What's happening here? And then a few minutes later, I kind of asked myself, what is that one thing? That's kind of interesting. That's to know that life's in love with you. And so I knew that there was a song that was coming through, and I hadn't written one for my wife yet, and I was wondering if one was going to come through, and that's kind of the genesis of it. So anyway, we're going to play it from the album, but it just came through, and so I ran to the guitar on my break, and then it started. When you don't know why you're here, let the magic draw you near, and sing a gentle song to make it all so clear. And so you got one thing in the world to do, that's to know that life's in love with you, and so am I. Love is never not beautiful. So that song came through like that.
Chris, thank you so much for being here on the
Thanks
air with us today. It's awesome. And thank you to all of our guests. Thank you, Olivia, my co-host.
Thank you so much. I had so much fun today.
And Ruby, thanks for being here.
You're welcome.
Dave, our production manager. And we are going to play a song off of Chris's album now, Love Is Never Not Beautiful. And I guess we're not going to play that song right now.
He's queuing it up.
Keep playing, Chris.
Yeah, I was supposed to do it live.
Okay, well then play.
You're going to play it, right? Love showed up and all this came to be. Big Bang was a love pact from eternal one for all humanity. Yeah. The world can be whatever we believe. Where love grows, let it be. Then just come and celebrate with me. You got one thing in the world to do, that's to know that life is in love with you, and so am I. Love is never not beautiful. Our love is like 1,000 blazing suns. Say I am you, you are me. We are one unfolding destiny. The world can be whatever we believe. Where love grows, let it be. Then just come and celebrate with me. You got one thing in the world to do, that's to know that life's in love with you, and so am I. Love is never not beautiful.
Chris, tell them where you can find your album.
It's called Homo Luminous. You can find it on Amazon and CD Baby and
it's Chris Amodeo and the Modern Minds.
exactly.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, and we will be back next week. The Ladaire Pair on KOCI.